Hello, hello, hello. Today I am here with a special guest, Miss Elle Ingalls. I'm so excited for this topic today. We are going to be talking about stress and de-stress. This is going to be so much fun. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sabrina Victoria. I am the host here at Her Talk Show. If you have not already subscribed, girl, get on it. These podcasts are guaranteed to have you thinking differently about all aspects of your life.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
Listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love. We have had over 500 women grace this stage, and we are adding another one to the list today. Elle. Elle helps business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals, and high-achieving students who are struggling, often secretly, with anxiety or stress. And this helps them achieve more without stress-induced burnout. I'm so excited for this subject. I think every entrepreneur has this issue, unless they're your clients, of course. The creator of the pressure-free method. It's an on-the-go stress management method that you can use anywhere, anytime. This is the ultimate work smarter, not harder formula that quickly reduces anxiety, impatience, and the mental blocks to success. With her expertise on the fight or flight stress response, she will show how to de-stress without having to slow down or take time off for enhanced cognitive and physical performance. She draws on her experience as a performance coach, executive, professional musician, yes, community leader, and parent of 3 grown sons, plus her 3 degrees from the University of Michigan, to help you break the stress cycle and experience your full potential. Welcome, lady.
So glad to be here, Sabrina. This is going to be fun.
Yes. What a cool, arena to be in.
Yeah.
I can just imagine the transformation has to be really awesome for you.
Oh, yeah. For my clients, and then when I actually kind of got out of denial and used the method on myself, I had a huge breakthrough. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I love that. So you are breaking the stress cycle to us today. Is this like a 1, 2, 3 steps? Is this just like a 1 step? How does this work? Tell us.
Yeah. I broke it into 3 steps. I mean, you can make it like a lot of steps, right? But let's keep things simple. Let's keep things easy to do. Because what I find so much in the psychological arena is that things are hard. And people don't get the breakthroughs they need, and they don't get relief, true relief. So I've worked with people that have tried everything, they've tried exercise, yoga, meditation, therapy, everything, and they still are anxious, they're still stressed. And so I dug into the physiology of the stress response, the biology of it. Like, what's actually happening under the hood when we feel certain emotions and react in certain ways? That's what I dug into. So I come to my work not as a psychologist or therapist, but as a high performer. Like, how can I always be cool on stage? How can I always walk into the board meeting and just totally feel my power and don't feel disempowered by anything? Some of these things I've been doing since I was a little girl, starting to play the violin. I then actually became a conductor. I started conducting in college and broke a nice glass ceiling at the University of Michigan. I was the first woman ever to conduct the symphony there and be in that program, which was very cool. Very, very cool. Very high stress, but very cool. And yeah, just had all these little things happen along the way that were lessons I had to learn to get myself where I really needed to be. But the huge breakthrough was in 2010. And I have to credit my sons. It was because I have 3 boys. My 2 older boys were playing high school baseball. they asked me to coach their team in these mental toughness techniques that I taught them and my violin students. So I just started laughing, Sabrina. I'm like, who wants their mother in the dugout? Like, that's just crazy, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So I started laughing. We're at the dining room table. I'm laughing, and my son goes, Mother, I am serious. So I thought, okay, let's think about that. What is it that I teach my violin students? What is it that I use myself to do all this? And honestly, I like grabbed a pen and I couldn't stop writing that night. I just then I got on computer, I like wrote this whole thing out. And my husband's a pro writer. I gave him the writing. I said, can you tighten this up? And he threw in funny baseball graphics, and I had this little pamphlet. So I took that pamphlet to the head coach, actually the tough coach first, the guy with the chew in his mouth, like spitting in the spittoon while I talked to him, right? And he goes, wow, this has merit. You should work with the boys. Take it to the head coach. He was a financial advisor. It's 2010. And he says, oh my gosh, I need this. Will you be my private coach? And then my department chair at the college where I taught violin for years, she finds out what I'm doing and literally grabs her checkbook and she goes, oh my God, I need this. Can we start tomorrow? We actually did start the next day. And I just started. In other words, it was organic, Sabrina. I didn't wake up and say, oh, I'm going to be a performance coach now. It was completely organic. It came out of decades of work that I've done. But then I got deep into the fight or flight stress response and what's actually happening to us when we trigger it. And most of us wouldn't equate the general stress we have in our days as actually going into fight or flight. But what I've discovered is the slightest annoyance, because I get annoyed a lot, the slightest annoyance is the thing that will trigger my stress response. Socks somewhere. I don't know. There would be dirty socks somewhere in my house. Like, what the heck are those doing there? The hamper's in there. So little things were causing me to trigger fight or flight, and I didn't even know it. That's why like, I had to get out of denial myself. I thought I was a cool, consummate professional. I'm like, holy crap, no. I'm triggering the stress response for all kinds of crappy things. So I started using the method on myself, and God, I just have to share what happened to me, if it's okay.
Yeah.
There were some kind of deep things. The first thing, this hand here was covered in eczema for 35 years, from age 13 to 47 when I finally broke it. I tried every cream, everything possible, but they were cracked and bleeding knuckles and bloated. I could never get a ring on here. I would hide my hand. But it's my bow hand. I can't hide it at all. In fact, I had one little 6-year-old say, Mrs. Ingalls, do you have leprosy? When I was teaching him. Like, it was that bad. In 8 weeks, my skin completely cleared when I used my method. Just completely. I actually fell to the kitchen floor, and I was holding my finger. It was my middle finger was the worst. I was like poking at my husband. I go, look. He goes, what's up, honey? I'm like, no, my skin. I can actually touch my skin. And then my breast tissues. My mom died at age 68 of breast cancer. I'm 61 now. Like, I'm getting close. I had dense fiber breast tissue my whole adult life. I can't even get the words out because I don't even want to talk about it. But she had that too, dense fibrous tissues. My tissues completely changed in that 8-week period of using the method on myself. Like, completely changed. They were, and I only share this when I'm on women's shows, but they were so different. And my mother-in-law was still alive. She was in her 90s. I'm at her dining room table and I go, Mom, you're the closest thing I've got to, like, my mom's gone, right? And my mother-in-law had breast cancer too. I go, I just got to show you. And I whipped off my bra, right? And she goes, oh, they're so youthful. It was a bonding moment I will never forget. We both cried together. And I'm like, I don't know if I just extended my life and gave myself some quality days here, but I know that something dramatic has shifted in me by not reacting to the stress response all the time, not overreacting and triggering. What is it we're triggering? Stress hormones. I thought that was a dirty word when I was a little girl. So
Yeah.
It's like, I talk about hormones all day long with my clients. And so that is really my expertise, understanding the releases of these hormones. There's 2 different floods, and showing people how to not release them. So you're going to release your stress hormones in a little ways, but if you release an overabundance, you've now gone into fight or flight. And so many things happen. Everybody's kind of different in how it presents in their being, but like your face turning red before a meeting, sweaty palms, you might have a dry mouth when you're about to give a speech.
Yes, that happens to me.
Does it? Yeah.
When you get
yeah, cottony mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because your saliva, the first flood of hormones are called catecholamines. The big one is adrenaline, so you'll feel kind of an adrenaline rush. And that shuts off your saliva glands because it's actually shutting down your whole digestive system. So some people feel really weird in their belly, like, oh, my stomach hurts. I'm going to be nauseous. I'm going to throw up. Like your stomach will feel weird. You'll have butterflies feeling. That's it too. But the saliva ducts are a whole piece of the digestive system because if we're in fight or flight, think about it for a moment. If we're in a tribal setting, we're getting attacked all the time, we have got to have a ton of energy to fight that tiger or run away. So we're literally shutting down the systems that will take a lot of energy. Our reproductive system, our digestive system, our thyroid gland gets messed up. So some people think, oh, my hands are cold. I have a thyroid issue. No. It's a stress response issue. Let's work on that first. You might not have a thyroid issue at all, but your thyroid gland gets messed up when we trigger fight or flight. Hair loss, like some of my clients will say, I had one woman call me and she goes, my hairdresser's having to thin more hair. Does pressure-free make your hair grow? But our hair, we'll lose hair. We'll lose hair because of these hormones, because we're literally wicking fat and glucose from our extremities to power up all that energy to fight or run away. Our brain cells are affected. Our whole outer brain and our memory center back here. You know how you go to a social event and you're like, oh, hi, my name's Sabrina. Oh, hi, my name's John. And 5 seconds later, you can't remember his name. We are not stupid people. What the heck is going on, right?
Yeah.
Then, women, we hit menopause. It's like, oh, I have such memory issues. It's not that. It's a stress response issue. And so that hippocampus shuts down and you can't remember. You can't access memory. Putting in the context, because this is her nation, we're talking about powerhouse women here. So we want to do a lot and we want to do it really well, right? So if your hippocampus shuts down, your memory center, and your decision making and your willpower are somewhat compromised, you're not fully on. And that is the thing that I love to see happen in my clients. It's like all the switches start to flip and you get to be the real you, not the stressed out you. Here's another deal. When they say, oh, that woman's really aggressive instead of assertive, actually she is. It's because she's on this flood of hormones. And so when we trigger fight or flight, we can move into an aggressive way of being, or we just want to pull the covers up and go back to bed, like hide, right?
Yeah.
When people freeze, some people get super fidgety, like I don't know, do I have a pen that has we're clicking the pen, we're jiggling the leg. I was a leg jiggler. I can still feel my mother trying to press my leg palm, right? Yeah. Just jiggling.
I'm a leg jiggler all day, every day. Yeah. I cannot stop it. And when people tell me to I get mad.
You get mad.
Yeah.
And that's the deal. The reason I say you don't have to slow down or take time off, here's the deal. Those are nice things to do if you want to do some self-care. What if you could do the self-care and it's for fun instead of because you need it? So we think that, have your stressful day and then exercise, do yoga, whatever you need to do to chill out, right? That's completely false. It's a total myth. The only way to totally stop the stress hormones from harming you and causing cognitive issues, mental and physical, is to not release the hormones. You don't have to slow down. You just have to figure out what's triggering me. So when you ask the method, 3 steps, the first step is, what do you want? You get asked that all the time, like, what's your why? if you can't, by the way, if someone asks you that, like, what are you aiming for? What's your why? What's your vision for your company? And you're kind of a little tongue-tied, like you can't really do it. That's because the hippocampus is shut down. In order for us to create vision, we need to access memory, process in the present in order to envision into the future. But if your brain is shut down somewhat, you'll be like, wow, I kind of know what I want, but it's not really clear. It's not your fault. It's the fault of these darn hormones. So when you can get clean of those, you can start to really identify your targets. So for my clients, I just sort them out simple. I go, listen, if you've been stressed, you have a lot of anxiety, whatever, maybe your target is just, I just want to feel better. Let's just keep it simple. Let's keep it to the emotion that you want. Or it could be, maybe you have a chronic mental or physical issue, or you've been diagnosed ADHD, GAD, any PTSD, any of the diagnoses, and you're like, you know what? I just want less symptoms. That's my goal. So what do you want? What are your targets? For me, I never would have put down no more eczema because I never believed I couldn't have that. I tried everything, every doctor, every cream, even bag balm for cow udders doesn't work on me anyway, right? I tried absolutely every remedy everyone ever gave me. It's a stress hormone issue because I was wicking the power away from my hands. So targets are first, then identifying what are those things that might prime the pump and cause you to release a flood of stress hormones. So it could be a slight annoyance, like a loud sound, or it could be you got a project due and you're not even close and now you're getting anxious about that. It could be, a lot of people have people triggers. So somebody said something or their tone of voice has kind of made you feel bad about yourself, like anything like that. So a lot of people do annoying things to other people. So you just have to kind of be gentle and figure out, okay, what is it that makes me feel these emotions? Angry or annoyed, which kind of fall on a continuum, anxious or afraid, anytime you feel ashamed. So sometimes, I know as high achieving women, we sometimes get to the end of our day and we're like, I didn't do enough.
Yeah.
I should have done more. And we'll start to feel just a little bit of shame. I even feel it in my stomach when I say it. Like, I just feel this like little dread in my stomach. Like, oh crap, I didn't reach out to that client, or, what is it? And so there's one right there. If you get to that end of the night, and I have a slogan to help with that. My tool, but the next step are tools and the 10-second solution. You need to start to catch tension in your being or tension mentally or any of those emotions. And in that 10-second gap, if you can do something that prevents the release of these hormones, you've saved yourself. So when I say at the end of the night, I'll say, oh crap, I haven't done enough today, and start to feel that little bit of tightness and shame, I'll say, tomorrow is a new day. My husband will hear me say that, like, tomorrow is a new day. And for some reason, that's my phrase to say, chill out, babe. You got this.
Yeah.
You can enjoy your evening now, and tomorrow is a new day. So that's I call that a slogan tool. Just a couple of phrases, a word, a phrase, something real easy you can pop in your head, kind of like Nike's Just Do It slogan. Just a quick slogan you can pop in your head to prevent you from overreacting and releasing these hormones. Because you've done enough. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, really. So slogans I'll give you some tools right up front here. And again, you're working in that 10-second window. Then I do need to talk about the second flood of hormones in a moment, but I'm kind of going on and on. Is that okay? You want to?
Yes, perfect.
Dive in whenever you want. But I just really want to share with your tribe here because it's so life-changing when you can figure this out. Tools in the 10-second solution. My tools come in 3 types: body tools, things to do with your body, mind tools, and life design tools. I want to give you a body system that I worked on learning from my body coach. I have a personal body coach. She's so amazing. In fact, she'd be great on your show too. I'll connect you to. And it's stuff I learned, and then she just took it to a whole new level. So I want to share it right now because you'll experience it. Everyone can experience now. So most of our stresses are up in here. It's like, oh, the dog just barked. Oh, like thoughts. So we need to get out of our head and into our body in a moment, like in a flash. So the first place to do it is from your shoulders down into your ribs. Just go wide, like you're an opera singer, like you're just opening up wide, about to belt out a huge song. So shoulders down into the ribs, expand wide, and that opens you up here. Second step is kind of weird, but your dog. So when your dog is scared, Sabrina, what does it do with its tail?
Puts it between its legs.
Yep. So most of us sit on our butts, and if we had a tail, we would now be sitting on our tail, which would have to go between our legs.
Okay.
So when we're in that position, our nervous system is a little bit on alert, thinking, oh, I got to watch out. I've got to watch out. So I want you to sit up a little and grab your butt. You have permission to grab your own butt and pull the glutes back and sit on your hamstrings, your leg bones.
Got it.
Your butt's rising up now. So if you had a tail, it can wag, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you're in that position, and notice my body, I gained height on the screen. You gained height on the screen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You just opened wide. By the way, when we go into fight or flight, we need to protect ourselves. So we tighten our neck. You know how women will have that kind of like neck?
Yeah.
That's because we tighten to protect ourselves. We don't have ribs up here and we don't have ribs down low, so we tighten our bellies too. So that's the next thing. Now that you're wide and now you've got your butt behind you, now put a hand on your belly and just relax your belly. Now I'm going to take you, all these women here, I'm going to take them deeper. Take your hand, now go over the belly to where it tucks back in above your pubic bone and kind of get it in there, and then close your eyes if you want, but see if you can relax that spot. Because we usually hold tension as women right in that spot there. And when you relax that, that's your power, safety, love, and money. That's what I call that. It's a secret spot. It's power, love, safety, money. And so we've been taught to hold our abs really tightly by a lot of personal trainers and people. But if you hold your abs tightly, you're telling your brain to be afraid. If you're sitting on your butt, you're telling your brain to be afraid. If you're tight, I used to have terrible rounded shoulders and tight here, then you're telling your brain, look out for, be alert, be alert. When you go wide, get your butt back and your abs are relaxed. You're now in a state where your brain says, everything must be totally cool. Now the brain can fully function for you. My clients get so much more productivity out of their day. They usually gain productive time like one woman 3 hours, one guy 4 hours of time. Like time I can do things instead of just couch potato it. You know, it's like real productive time because this is now all working.
Wow.
I test myself sometimes. Like I worked with a homeless shelter. I worked and coached their staff. Some of the people were unhoused, by the way, on the staff. It was a fascinating project. Well, I was going to do 3 main coaching sessions and then work with just the administrative staff on one-on-ones. But the person, my point guard there, said, people want one-on-ones with you, Elle. I go, let's just open it up. I coached 25 one-on-ones with these people, plus my other clients in 5 days. Wow. And one day I went from like 9 a.m. to 9:30 at night, like almost totally coaching the whole time. I wasn't tired at all. I could have gone till midnight. You know, sometimes you feel like our energy gets drained by people. It doesn't have to. If that power center I just had you relax, if that's lit up, you won't get tired. No one can drain your energy. You can only let it go to somebody. So I help people like get super empowered by not triggering those stress hormones that shut us all down and get ourselves in a state where we fully are open, we fully are alive. And so, yeah, the other tools are mind tools. The slogan is a mind tool, like tomorrow is a new day. I've got this. Let it go, which is now a song, right? I've never seen the movie yet. I have boys. I have to go see that movie. So just little words in your head. A smile is also a mind tool because when the corners of your mouth go up, and there's been a lot of like fake smiling doesn't work, they're missing the 10-second piece. If you've got something coming at you and you smile in that 10-second window, it won't really feel like fake smiling. And it can be sarcastic, by the way, like, oh, look at that. I can see that trigger, right? You can be sarcastic about it. But the corners going up, that releases neuropeptides that allow the best neurotransmitters that keep this all working for you to stay going. So super powerful little tool. And then my third type of tools, and I have over 50 tools I teach people, like a lot, because everybody's different. Like your stressors, the things that stress you are different. But I will actually, the third type of tool are life design tools. And it's fascinating how some of those are the most important tools for my clients. They're goal setting, time management, how we think about time, how we carry ourselves in the world, and not so much outcome, because we're super outcome focused in our world today, but like, how are we feeling while we're doing stuff? I really focus on that a lot with my clients. I go, I want you to have a beautiful life. I stand for that. Like, I want you to have a fulfilling life. Challenges are going to hit us. Horrible things are going to happen to us. They've happened to me. They happen to everybody. But we still deserve a beautiful, fulfilling life while we're on this planet. We still deserve that. I truly believe that. So yeah, that's kind of just a little glimpse of it. And I'm sure, like, I told you I was going to tell about the second half of these, we got the first flood of hormones going out. What happens later is your brain says, okay, threat is gone. We don't need to keep this body in this fight or flight state. We have to actually fix the brain cells and the extremities that we've harmed when we did this. Second flood goes out, glucose and cortisol. We hear a lot about cortisol today. You need these two things to go out into your bloodstream to fix your brain cells, get them powered back up. They actually get the sugar, salt, water content of the cells back to normal. Now we're in homeostasis. We're back up. So we need cortisol. You see people trying to cancel cortisol. I'm like, don't cancel cortisol. We actually need it. Our body is divinely made to fix all of this stuff we've done to it. So, but cortisol gets a bad rap because it's linked to two things specifically with the human brain, and then one thing for the body. But with the brain, it's your wake-up drug. So if you suffer from insomnia, it could be like if you triggered, say, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., you might not get to sleep. But if you're worrying about something like later in the evening, you actually may get to sleep at 2 or 3 a.m. You're like wide awake. Like, why is that? It's just because that cortisol has gone out. It's like your biology is changing and affecting your psychology. Then the other thing it can do is make you feel worried for no reason. Oh, great. Now we're going to trigger all over again and just stay in it. And by the way, there's a huge gender difference. When males start this cycle of hormones, it takes up to 9 hours from just one release. And it's very dependent on how much goes out, of course, but up to 9 hours before their cells are clear of the hormones. But for females, it's an up to 24-hour cycle.
Wow.
Situational and how much and all of that, but up to 24 hours. But when I learned this, I'm like, wow, I've never been clean. Maybe age 2, but no, I don't think so. It's like, I've never been clean of these hormones until 2010.
Wow.
And then everything changed for me. My behavior changed. I can get impatient. I'm an East Coast girl originally. I live in Michigan now, but it's like, I get impatient with people. I'll finish people's sentences. I used to finish people's sentences all the time. I just couldn't wait. It's like, come on. My legs jiggling, my pen's clicking. I'm like, I got to get out of this meeting. I got things to do, right?
Yes.
And it's like, I wouldn't say life is slower for me at all. I do more now in a day than I probably ever did. But it's different. I'm fueled from the inside out. I don't need coffee. I don't need external things to fuel me so much. I'm fueled from the inside because I'm not wasting energy dealing with these stress hormones. My kids call it stress sludge. I'm not dealing with the stress sludge anymore. So
yeah. So I have two two roads here that I want to go down.
Okay.
First road that I would love for us to expand on a little bit is dropping the stress identity.
I love it.
Because some people are in that and that's like part of them.
Yes. Yes.
So how does somebody, I mean, obviously you stated, I don't even know if this is even a real question anymore because you stated so many things that happened that show obvious value to distressing. But do you see that sometimes where people are just connected to their stress and to get rid of it?
Yeah.
Like you're giving them tools and they're just like,
oh, I have a lot of people come to me really skeptical there can be any change, first of all.
yeah,
And in some cases and I would say I was a bit fighting it too, because I love my type A high achieving personality.
yeah,
I love it. And I didn't want to lose that. So what I love to tell people is you're not going to lose your drive. You're
yeah,
just not going to burn out anymore. So that I think is really important. Also, people will say, and Steve Jobs did it when he was asked, why do you just snap at people? You're so impatient. And strangers would ask a question in a hall and he just snaps at them. He doesn't even know them, right? And he goes, oh, that's just who I am. No, that's him on stress hormones.
got it.
That's not the real Steve Jobs. The guy was a Zen Buddhist, for God's sake. Why is he acting like that? Is because he was triggered, probably from something early in his morning that would start the whole cascade, and now he's in it.
Yeah,
So he behaved that way to some of the people closest to him, And so I love to say that you go from a type A to a type P, which is present, because we're always talking about that. How do you be mindful? I don't have time for meditation. I don't have time for that. Okay?
yeah, yeah,
I just want to be it. Well, this is the fastest way to be it, is to not release the stress hormones, and then you are it. So powerful, productive, present, and pressure-free. That's a type P person. That's what I would say I am now. So I haven't lost my drive now. I'm powerful, but I'm empowered from the inside out. I don't have to force my agenda on anybody. It's like now things, in fact, a sales guy, you'll see him on my website. He says, yeah, I'm not sure if he even says this, but in just a few days, he became a magnet. It's like I don't have to force anymore. Like everybody's coming to me. It's a very different thing. It's really interesting. But then there's another, I love this question, by the way, because there's another sneaky thing. We're comfortable in our mess. We're comfortable. We've been comfortable going full whole hog and then crashing, full whole hog and then crashing. We think that's like the only way that it is for us to do all the things we're supposed to do in our life. And so again, if anybody would have said, oh, you don't have to do it that way, I would have been like, no, that's how you have to do it. You don't understand. I would be like, you don't understand. That's why I love coaching high achieving people, because I totally get you. I am you. So what is that transformation? It's all anecdotal, but a key moment for me, my eldest son and I were the first two using this method. We kept getting up earlier and earlier and earlier till one Saturday morning. This is an 18-year-old teenage kid. I'm already up at 4:30 working on my workbook. I'm writing a book, right? I'm writing. He comes pounding down the stairs. He goes, Mother, what is this? It's 5 a.m. And I wake up calm and exhilarated every morning now. And I just looked at him and I said, honey, I think for the first time in our whole lives, we're getting a real night's sleep.
Wow.
And so now we're getting up earlier because we feel good and we've got energy. And that is so, I can't even believe how it changed me, like how I then felt. And now I don't have the eczema or the stress acne or like lines on my face at 61. Or one of my friends goes, oh my God, this is the de-ager, isn't it? And it's because those stress hormones age us fast. They age us and they make us, we lose willpower. Like maybe you do your hard day, but then you should work out and you're like, oh crap, I have no willpower for that. And so we kind of give up on some things. We don't really keep, by the way, I had a coach say this to me. She goes, Elle, you're great at keeping promises to everyone else, but you don't keep your own promises to yourself. Oh my gosh. I practically cried. I was like, oh, she's so right. I say I'm going to do this something for me, but then I don't do it. But because I didn't have the energy.
Yeah.
But when you have the ability and the energy, it's like, oh, I'm going to do that tonight. We have a motto in our family, especially when it comes to fun, we do the one more thing. Like everybody else is packed it in, they're like, Ingalls are still out at the beach, right? It's really fun. It's really fun. And we do it for work too. My boys are incredibly hard workers, but they love work. They have their own business. And my youngest, who learned this, by the way, when he was 10, and I'm allowed to say this, he had a lot of anger issues. Like if he got one wrong on the state's capital test, he would just beat himself up and practically bash his head on the table and really upset, right? I created Pressure Free the month I was about to take him to my friend who was a child psychologist. I was so worried about him. I start teaching it to him. His anger completely goes away. And he ends up doing just so amazing, and everything he touched, just effortless, amazing, and being a good friend and all that. So he just graduated from Columbia in New York last year, 2022, as salutatorian of the class, this little kid from Michigan.
Wow.
And not only that, he ran 5 marathons in 7 months his senior year, did 2 huge research projects in psychology for them, and had the best friends ever. He's in New York for the weekend with his friends. Right?
Yeah.
It's incredible. And if anybody would have told me, because I didn't know where this was going to end up for him, because he was so angry.
Yeah.
And that's because he's such a high achiever, and so one wrong meant he wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And I think we as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we put so much pressure on ourselves to do it all really well.
Yeah.
And so that's I have clients come to me and they'll say, on the outside, everybody thinks I'm so cool and I've got it all together. But inside, I'm a hot mess of stress and I'm scared. I'm scared. What's happening next? And some people have panic attacks, and have the whole thing. Or maybe they just want to speak better and they have the cotton mouth and they don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
So everybody, I'm curious for you, Sabrina, how do you see stress presenting in you? You've got cotton mouth sometimes, but other things?
Yeah. You know what? It's very interesting listening to this, and I'm definitely interested in learning more, only because I feel as if I'm I know I have my stress under control. Nothing triggers me. The tone that you were talking about was horrible for me. Got rid of that. Arguments where you're wanting to dive back in and refuel the fire. I don't do that. People coming at me, trying to rush, text messages coming in, feeling like I have to respond right away. I don't do any of that. I'm very worry-free. Nice. I sleep so well. When I hit, my fiance will tell you, when I hit the pillow, within 5 seconds, I am asleep. When my alarm goes off, or once I've hit 6 hours or so, I just wake up. I'm a total morning person. I'm ready to go. I'm always optimistic. But I shake my leg all day long.
Wow. Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah.
To the point where people will ask me if I even when I'm standing, girl.
Oh, wow.
People will ask me if I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
That's how it's not just a little, I'm
my
whole body. And I have to restrain myself on this podcast because I have to constantly readjust my bottom level, because when I rewatch, my whole body's just going like this. I can't see it while I'm doing it because I'm shaking with myself.
Right.
So I feel like I look fine. But then when I rewatch it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm shaking so bad. So I have to constantly be switching back and forth. I'm moving, I'm constantly going like this because I'm getting angry that I can't, not angry,
I don't know what you mean.
Frustrated because I can't move my legs.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So obviously, there's stress somewhere, right?
There's something, yeah. And I'm working with a really high level person right now. She owns a huge business, and debunking what those things are, because you've gotten yourself to this point to what you do, and like everything you just said that you've cleaned up, so then it's looking at some real subtle things.
Yeah.
And that's what I've had to do. Like, I'm 13 years into using the method on myself. I'm still a work in progress, because all of a sudden I'll see, oh wow, that is a real trigger for me. I didn't know it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's like I almost gamify it, like it's a game. And we
Yeah.
can't put a lot of pressure on ourselves, because that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I say we're going to play here. And what we would do is like really gently assess and watch and see, okay, when is the first moment that you're starting the jiggle? There's probably some little thing in there, and then maybe it's not even that, but it was, it's like some thought just it could be a memory thought too, that just crosses over. And like we would play probably a lot in the when you're first waking up and just before you drop to sleep, in those you're in theta waves there.
Yeah.
And that's when your subconscious and conscious are most connected. And we would probably maybe identify something in patterns there, because if it's subtle, because you've cleaned up a lot, then we're working really deep. And
Yeah.
it's
so interesting, though.
So,
like, I'm so interested, because I do pride myself on that. And I get compliments on that. Like, high stress situations, I don't worry. Like, I'm cool and calm.
yeah.
And so much so that people acknowledge it. They're like,
Oh yeah.
holy crap. And it's something that I'm very prideful of too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm super curious to know. And I am going to be more cognizant of that, of when do I start? Because I'm thinking about it. I sleep perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't even move in my sleep. Like, the way that I fall asleep is literally the way I wake up.
Nice.
I get comfortable and I do not move.
Wow.
And I'm trying to think, I'm honestly thinking of myself on the toilet. Like, do I shake when I'm on like, I'm thinking of that right now. Do I do it when I'm like standing and brushing my teeth? Like, I'm going to be more cognizant.
Yeah.
Maybe it's when I sit down on my desk to work.
Oh.
Maybe I'm like totally fine until I sit.
Yeah.
So yeah, but even driving, not necessarily as the driver, but as the passenger, the whole car will be moving.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Well, you're not even like there. Somebody else is driving.
That's a heavy shake, though. If you're shaking the whole car, we have an SUV, a Honda SUV. That's a big shake, girl.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But just the fact that you acknowledge the shake,
yeah,
that's huge. I love to say acknowledgement sets you free. Like I said, I was in denial. I needed this because, like you, I've had some of the greatest musicians in the world said, you're the calmest exec we've ever worked with. Like, I'm so chill producing a concert. Like, so many things can go wrong. I'm just like right on it and it's all cool. But that's not what stresses me. I can do all that.
Okay.
Boy, my old house where I used to live, it's humid in Michigan, okay? My door would stick on humid days. Well, how many humid days do we get? I was triggering before I even got to my door, thinking, put down my violin and my groceries and pull the handle to get the darn door to unlock, right? But then it piles on. The reason I'm using this door is because I'm not going to go through the gate into the garage, because the garage is full of crap. So I'm parking out here and using the front door, which is sticking, like it's just like pile, right? And of course, it's all happening in milliseconds in my head.
Yeah.
But that whole little train of thought, we are great fiction writers, by the way, in our head. Like, we can create all kinds of stories real fast. And so it's like figuring out some of those things that to me is fascinating. Like, what
do you think that I could be married to my leg shake?
Yeah.
Because it's like a conversation. Mm-hmm. And it's something more so. And that's why I was kind of talking about identity when you were talking about, like, this happened to me when I left my story behind of victimhood and like being abused and the whole like religion. And that was like my identity. And when I had to start letting go of that, there was a pull where like I couldn't, like, because it was so much a part of me. And if you want to grow and you want to heal, you have to like, that's the end of the story. And you have to now, and that same feeling came up when you, I don't remember what part, but you were, when you started talking about it, like, you know, you basically said like, you can get rid of it. And when you said that, I could feel my body be like, no.
Right. Resistance.
So could it stress?
Yeah.
But could I also be married to it as like, that is something that's me, and I'm so like type A, and I'm so, you know, always on the move, and I'm so, you know, it's like part, and it's like, yeah, that's my thing. Like I'm always shaking my leg. I'm always on a move. I'm always moving and grooving, because I've turned it into a positive, not a negative too.
Right.
People get mad. And so I've learned to joke about it. I've got little puns. I have like little things that I say that like are funny so that we can all laugh.
Well, I love that you just said that making it into a positive. When I have someone like a nail biter,
Yeah.
you know, pen clicker, pen biter, and this, I'll give you a tool right here that could begin to help it. But I look at any of those things, and the leg jiggling, that's a sign. It's a clue. It's not something bad, but it is a clue that something could be working on you, and you're not aware of it yet. And so you can sleuth out your triggers by, oh, I just came here. I just started picking my cuticles. That's one of mine. You know, oh, what is it? Oh, I was thinking about this.
Got
And
it.
so that you can use it as a clue, but your hands, your I learned this from my body coach too. Our nervous system has a directionality to it. It swirls, but it comes down the tops of the arms and down the tops of the legs and then up underneath.
Okay.
This makes so much sense to me, because I used to get massage occasionally and I liked it, but I didn't. I was like, how come I like this, but I don't? And what she explained was that masseuse, you know, they're taught to start at the extremities and move up. Well, take your dog. If you pat your dog's fur the wrong way, they don't like that. They bristle because you're activating the nervous system. They want to be petted this way and soothed, right? So I want to be soothed. If I'm going into fight or flight, I want to be instantly soothed. You can just take your hands and go down the tops of your arms,
Okay.
or the tops of your thighs, but don't rub back up. Pick up your hands, go back to the top of your hips, and go back down. You'll see people go like chunka chunka chunka. They're nervous and they'll go back and forth on their legs, right? But that's just like soothe, activate, soothe, activate, soothe, activate. It's like, let's just soothe it. I do this with kids who have test anxiety, or adults like going in for their driver's test, or financial aid, or financial advisors. They have to take tests. I say, just rub down the tops of your legs a few times. Instantly, you're going to settle your nervous system so your brain can work. And you know, I'm going to be on another on a TV show in a little bit, and this woman was talking with me, and she wasn't pronouncing my name correctly, even though I had. She's seen a zillion videos of me where I say, "Hi, Elle Ingalls here." Like, she hears my name, right?
Yeah.
We don't hear when we're triggered. So we're not hearing and seeing as fully as we could. That's why, like, if you have people who work for you and they're like, wow, I really feel like you don't see me or affirm me or hear me or acknowledge me. If we're in fight or flight, we can't. Okay. We're just trying to protect ourselves, okay, at all costs. So one of the benefits is connectivity. You're going to see people and hear them at a level you never have before. And when you go wide with that body thing that I did with you, you're opening up your heart space, your heart chakra, this area here.
Yeah.
People are going to start to feel like, oh, she gets me. Oh, you know, her heart's open to me. They won't even know what they're feeling, but you just totally change the way that you're connecting to somebody. And that is something that I hear from my clients all the time. Like, if I'm working with a teen, a parent will say, wow, my teen talks to me now. Teens we're talking about, nobody's hearing.
Got it.
Hearing. And we don't hear today. We're, you know, people say, oh, they hear me selectively, but it's really not even that. because our hearing changes in fight or flight, and so does our eyesight. So that's kind of a cool thing that I had no idea when I was first starting this, that would open up. But it was my eldest son in a hockey showcase. In between games, I said, try this, try these tools when you're on the ice. So whenever he heard the whistle blow, I had him open wide, take a breath, and raise his head up and smile a little. Every time he heard the whistle, he said, marvelous. When he came back to the bench, he could actually hear his coach. Now he can execute what his coach is teaching him on the fly. This is an 18-year-old kid. This is high stakes hockey at this point. And so he could actually hear it, whereas before it would just kind of be muffled.
Yeah.
He's hearing it. When you talk to somebody, you can tell they're not listening, right?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I've done that to people too before.
Yeah, me too. It's like,
and you have to like try to pretend like you're listening, but like, you're not all listening. I have totally done that.
Oh, and also, like, we sort of listen because also our communication the other way is so messed up when we're in fight or flight. Like, if you're having trouble following someone, or like, wow, I wish they'd get done with this or whatever, their communication would so improve, but they've probably triggered. So they're not clear about what they're even talking about. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It's so fascinating to me. And I just see subtleties now that I never saw before because my eyes were closed, right?
Yeah. I bet that must be interesting too, just going around the world and seeing people clicking pens and jiggling and
oh yeah.
Like,
there's a lot of
fists and
sometimes I just want to, well, my body coach as a violinist, like I was getting arthritis in my thumbs a bit, but I also held my thumbs in a way, and she gets them aligned with my hand. She would just grab my hand and align my thumb along with my fingers like this, right? So she just gets right in there and grabs it whenever she sees me.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I wish I could do that. Like, just like I coach people on the fly. Like, I was at a juice bar in Florida, and this guy came in. They were out of carrot juice or something, and he just reamed out the counter people. Like, I can't believe you're on my juice. Or like, he just reamed them out. And when he left and it got quiet in the store, I went over and I coached pressure free to the whole staff. I'm like, you guys, I can teach you some tips right now for somebody like that, right? Because you just have a beautiful day. Right? I just coach them on the fly.
Wow.
Schoolers, like anybody that I'm interacting with that I see, like, oh wow, if I could just give them one hint right now, she's going to get more tips tonight, or that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Do it. I coach, my friends will see me do it. They're like, oh my God, you just coach on the fly. Like, oh, I can't help it. I just can't help it,
Yeah. That's awesome. I love this. This is so cool. And everybody, right? Everybody needs this.
I thought, people, my coaches, of course, my business coaches say, oh, you need to have a target market, blah, blah, blah. I've been hearing that for 13 years. I coach C-suite execs to 10-year-old little soccer players. Like, I can't, if someone's ready for the work, I can't say no to them. I've only not taken a few clients that have come on a free call with me. It was because they just weren't committed or ready enough. Yeah. And I said, you need to be like a 9 or 10 to want to do this on a scale of 1 to 10.
Totally.
When you feel like you need to change, I'm ready. I'm here for you, and I will be thinking of you until you pull the trigger. Yeah. But like, if it's a kid whose mom wants him to do it and he's like a 6, and I can't do that.
Yeah.
You do it. I can't pull a rope, or push a rope, I guess the expression. Like, I can't push a rope. He's got to want to do it. But there's only been a few times, because by the time people come to talk to me, they're like, I need to change. Like, I need something I want to change, especially like the high achievers. Like, I want to do more.
Totally.
I want to do more. And people are telling me to slow down and take time off. I don't want to slow down. Makes me angry when people would tell me, oh, you should slow down. That would make me angry.
Yeah.
Don't tell me to slow down. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
I want to learn more.
Yeah, I get that all day, every day. So I totally I think it's more prevalent in the women's arena than it is in the men's. The men's always being told to slow down. Our menstrual cycle, right? Hormones, the moon, Mars is in renegade or whatever is going on with
We
that.
can do a whole show just on the M words, menstruation and menopause. Okay,
Yeah.
like it's the stress hormones affect those. I have a young woman I just coached. She has no more PMS and no more cramps at all. None.
Yeah.
It's the stress hormones that mess that up.
Yeah.
I have my own menopause story that just blows my mind actually. And it's like so cool what happened because I did this work.
That's awesome.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't really relate to any because I don't really have issues with my menstruation or
I
nothing.
didn't either. I didn't have any.
Totally fine.
Yeah. But
People don't even know.
people who do, oh my gosh, like
I know.
it's bad. And we do get called hormonal. We get called aggressive, hormonal, hysterical.
Yeah.
We get called those words. And that's again that huge gender difference. You know, we're in the stress response longer and more because we're vulnerable and we keep triggering.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, and so that's that's fun stuff to get into. Like I really think it's fun.
I bet. This has been so awesome. I would love for you, first of all, for everyone here live that's been hanging out with us this whole time, thank you so much for being here and hanging out and listening to Elle Ingalls and I talk about this awesome subject. There's obviously a ton of people that are really appreciating this. We obviously have a really good idea of who you are, what you do.
Yeah.
But can you give us just kind of like a roundabout, like who should be contacting you? How do we contact you? How can we follow you?
Yeah, the Elle Ingalls is my website right on here. And if you go there, there's a raspberry color button. You can just click there and have a free talk with me. That's the best way for us to connect. You will never feel any salesy stuff from me because this is pressure free. So you'll leave that call with something no matter what. But I coach people one-on-one. I coach groups of any size. So like work teams, companies, conferences, whatever. You can connect me to anything like that. And then I host retreats too in person. And those are really, really beautiful. So I have one coming up on the East Coast in October. And I have a couple spots left for that. Let's see. I also have a certification program. So if you're in the helping fields, you're a coach, you're a therapist, you're a nurse, you're an athletic coach, anything like that. I teach people how to teach this method to others in a certification program now. And because I need to spread it, like I'm trying to spread it big. So, but let's just have a conversation. And I get to learn about you because that's the fastest way I can see, you know, what program of mine is best for you and what's possible for you is when I get to learn from you and hear from you. So Elle Ingalls, and then follow me on any social media. I do a longer video on Facebook every day on my personal page. It goes on my business page, which is Pressure Free Living as well. And then I have, I hire this young woman who at 3 a.m. chops it all up into shorts and puts it all over places. So LinkedIn, feel free to connect me on LinkedIn too. I'd love to connect people, especially on LinkedIn. That's a great place for us to get to know each other because I can see your resume, you can see mine, we can see who each other are, you know, really is. So yeah, but
Cool.
Happy to connect. And, you know, if you have a child, if you're a parent of a child who is struggling, they do not need to struggle so much. They really don't. If we can catch it earlier, it is so life-changing for them.
Yeah.
Like even middle school, I just finished working with a 14-year-old and it was so beautiful. The work was so beautiful. So I do a little abbreviated course with them, but sometimes we go longer because we can't be in a hurry. You know, these patterns have developed and they develop fast, especially elementary school, middle school. The patterns of anxiety develop fast.
Yeah.
And so we can break those. I've had young women like in anxiety for years, 3 years, and we break it in a matter of weeks.
Wow.
So you don't need to suffer. We don't need to suffer so much. And that I really stand for. Because it makes me sad when I hear people say, oh, my child is so high anxiety. That's just a stress response. It's just a stress response.
Yeah, I've seen it for sure.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And think about it. Think about who those people could be. I had a little 12-year-old hockey player. He came to me the second time. He goes, this helps with school. I go, yeah, how do you know? He goes, I'm a CD student with ADHD, but I just got an A on my history test for the first time in my life.
Hmm.
You're not a CD student, you're an A student, and you're ADHD, so you're brilliant. So let's work with that.
Yeah.
He ended up straight A's all through high school, honor student. Now, it was just incredible. But what if that kid in rural Michigan was still getting C's and D's? He'd probably be cooking meth right now because there's nothing else to do.
Totally. You're right. Yeah.
Or at least he doesn't think there's anything else he can do
Good point.
because he's been told he's not good enough.
Yeah. By so many people.
So many of us. Yeah. So it's like really cool to break through those things. And I'm really here to serve you. Sometimes I work with entire families. I build like a little family package.
That's
And
fantastic.
that's a lot of fun.
Yes. Well, this has been unbelievable. Thank you so much, Elle, for being here and for hanging out and for sharing so much awesomeness with us. For those of you listening live or on the replay, resonating with Elle and all the goodness that she shared, make sure you follow her on her social media, predominantly Facebook. Check her out on her website, ElleIngalls.com. It is in the description below wherever you're watching us at, and a clickable link. So feel free to contact her. Click that button, set up that appointment. Any closing thoughts, Elle, as we wrap up?
Shout out to Karen who connected us because connection is great. I love connection. And you're already connecting me to some people. I love it. Thank you. Your staff has been reaching out. I love it. So yeah, I just am really grateful to meet you, have a new friend in my life. And I love what you're doing here with Her Nation. I think it's powerful, really powerful. And everything I've seen, your graphics, everything, it's right on point. It's really, really cool. So thank you for the opportunity to share with your people and your followers. And, together we all get to make this world a better place. And I feel it coming. And there's plenty of people around the world who care about making it a better place. So
absolutely.
So let's all join hands and do it.
Yes. Well, this brings us to an end of yet another incredible episode of Her Talk Show. Thank you, Elle, for joining us and sharing your wisdom, inspiring us all. To our dedicated listeners, thank you so much for being here and staying with us. Remember to follow, like, and share. Once again, I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. I invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation, where we continue to have amazing conversations like this. Until